Welcome back to the hottest marriage show in our neighborhood. It's I, John D, and
Kanika,
aka
Do,
and Too Much Podcast.
Yes.
Glad to have y'all back. Those of y'all missed it. We were talking about attributes of a man or characteristics or responsibilities. In this episode, we're going to discuss our opinions. These are just things that we've gathered through our experiences and the relationship that we've created, and feel like we can kind of like break it down in our perspective, and hopefully that everybody can take whatever they can as a way to help them grow, because, you know, we didn't have this stuff growing up, and, you know, we were just trial and tribulation. So we're just trying to, regurgitate our experiences best way we can for you guys.
Yes. And so the last time we talked about men. So now we can talk about, what do you think the roles and responsibilities of women are?
Yes.
Also keeping in mind that not everybody believes in gender roles, but just for us, this is where we are. So I'll start with the women.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to sound like a replay of yesterday, because I believe women should be providers. I believe that I remember having a conversation with Dallas, and Dallas was like, if I could make enough, I wouldn't have a problem with my wife being at home. It's like, but if she wants to work, I don't think, I will cook. I hope she doesn't ask me to clean. He was like, that's not my strength. But I believe that a woman should be a provider if it's her choice, if it's feasible, and if he believes that, it's feasible for the path they want to take. But I do believe that there should be the provider, and not just financial, but like I said before, a protector. And a lot of people say that women are like, the husband protects the wife and the children, and then the woman protects the children. And I don't believe that. I think that the woman should also protect her husband. And thinking about what you had said before, when you were like open-mindedness and vulnerability, like some men don't believe that a man should need to be protected. But I do. I think that when you all go out into the world, you are met with a lot of stressors. And when you come home, I want to be a protector, just like I said before, of men being a protector, being a source of peace. We should be a source of peace also. I do think that when you were talking about being a complement to one another, there are certain things that when you're out in the world and situations happen, you don't know how to respond. Just like this week when we were talking about somebody saying something you were like, well, they shouldn't have said that, but you didn't know how to respond initially. And then when we talked about it, you were like, okay, I need to talk to them and be able to express that to them. I think that women should be protectors, and being able to, when you come home, you're in a peaceful space. And when you're stressed about something, we can be able to take care of that. I think that there's even a time where, you had felt uncomfortable speaking up about something, which isn't really you, but you didn't feel comfortable speaking up about something. You remember in Atlanta with a contractor? Mm-hmm. And it really made me upset that someone was mistreating you and taking your trust and your niceness for granted. And when he went out of town, I called that person and I told him he better be at that house this weekend. And before John lands on Sunday, his job needs to be done. And the guy was telling me something. I said, did the check clear? And he was like, yes. I said, well, the job isn't done over here. So then that means that you need to get here and get it done. He shouldn't have to talk to you about it again. And in that case, John is like, his friends are his family. And he will let some things go for the sake of the friendship. I am not that person. And
now this was then.
Yes. Yeah.
And
sure. So in that case, I felt like this is a moment in which he's not comfortable, but he's also not being treated fairly. And then I became protective of him. And there have been a couple of other instances in which I've felt the need to be a little bit more aggressive with people because his personality, I complement that part of his personality. So having someone be vulnerable enough to communicate with me that they're struggling with something, and it being okay to be like that, and allow me to take on that part of myself where I can compliment you and protect you in those moments. That's important to me too. I think that women should be able to do that. I remember this one woman, she said, she asked this guy, she is like, how can you handle it when your man is softer than you? And there were two things I thought about that. One, why are you so hard? So you should be asking yourself, because men should be able to be soft with you. Even if he go out in the world and he a muscle-bound man, put your face in the sand. When he's at home, I don't expect you to come in here and have your armor still on. You're supposed to put that off take that off at the door. So, and if I'm being honest about my expectation of you being a nurturer, like I said before, you have to be able to be softer at some point. And so I do believe that women should be protectors. A counsel. So you were talking about how, men do believe they should be a leader. I agree. But I like to think of it as a guide, because not everybody actually understands that a leader is best when they have an advisory council. They have a wise counsel behind them, so that, like when you said, even when I don't know something, she may know something, and I should be listening for that. Mm-hmm. And I think that with women, we should be a wise counsel, you and our partner, to figure out where we want this family to go. And my say in it is just as valuable, like you had said.
Absolutely.
And so, and sometimes I see things, or I've experienced things that can give you a different perspective that would change the entire course of what we'll do. And so I think that men should be open to us being wise counsel, but I think we should also be prepared to be a wise counsel. Like, we can't just be floating around. Like, sometimes I'll say, John, I am used to being protected by you now. And we'll go places and I could be a complete airhead with one brain cell. Like, I don't even have to care about what's going on because you're taking care of all these things. But when it all comes down to you and I and our family, I'm like PhD in it, because I need to make sure that I'm advising you, because you're going to have blind spots based on how you grew up. There are things that you're going to be like, it has to go this way. And then I'll be like, no, it doesn't, because I've seen it done this way if we do this. But I don't want to be the person, and I know that sometimes we talk about women, we've seen imbalanced relationships. We've grown up watching imbalanced relationships where our moms are literally doing everything, and the man is just, go ask your mama. Go ask you. That was my dad's favorite thing. Go ask your mama. It was like my mom ran the whole house. He must have just come in and gave her part of the check, and then went on by his business. But I do believe I don't want to run anything. I would like to be led. I really would. I would like to be led, but I definitely want to know that I'm not being led in the wrong direction by somebody who can't listen to other people and learn. You can't be inflexible.
Yeah.
And that closed-mindedness, that just, it's not going to progress the family or our children. We're not going to move forward, to the best of our ability if we're just using one brain. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not just one brain. It's just one person's brain. It's not together collectively to make one brain. So it's not even being smart anyway. Yeah. Two brains are supposed to be better than one, but you only using one.
Yeah. And you be like, I'm no leader. Look. So also, I believe that women should be nurturers. And I think that that's always something that people put on the list with women. But I believe that women should be nurturers to their children and to their husband, because I understand that you grew up in a space where there was certain, like, you weren't nurtured the way that you might have needed in those times. And I'm willing to do that. I'm not being your mother. I'm giving you woman, relationship, wife energy in my nurturing. But I absolutely understand. I've seen where there's lack in softness for you and your upbringing. And what I do is I figure out how I can nurture you as a wife, not as your mom. I don't give you that same energy. And I think women need to understand how to do that, because some women are like, I'm not his mama. I'm not. But I'm going to give you woman energy. I'm going to give you that wife energy. Nurturing can be flipped in a multitude of ways based on, you know, where you're coming from. I remember when my dad and my mom were getting a divorce, and my dad was like crying every day and whining about not really acknowledging or being accountable for how he did it, because it was his fault. And I remember there were days where he needed mother nurturing. I could see it. He needed a mother, and I wasn't that. I also wasn't able to give him woman energy because I'm 13. But I remember one day saying, you know, I know you seem like you're really sad, but you did this. This is your fault. And you can't be mad at this. You can't be mad at that. And he didn't hear me, you know. So the next time I was like, this is your fault. And then I like stormed because I didn't want to deal with it anymore. But I know he needed that. And he never found it in a wife energy to be able to fix those holes. But I think it made me extremely sensitive to yours. And then for me, it was really trying to focus on how to not be your mom, but how to be a nurturing wife. And I don't think that everybody sees a nurturer in a wife perspective. They only see it as a mothering nurture. And I don't think it has to look just one way. And the last one is also understanding that we're role models. Just like I said, with men, I want Day to be able to see I can take out the trash. I want her to be able to see that I can talk to contractors when they come to the house to talk about things or what have you. But I also want her to see me operate in every aspect. I want Dallas to be able to see a woman operate in every aspect, to know that he's supposed to have a wife that can think and be able to advise him also. And so all of that stuff, I do see that. So what about you? What do you think?
You know, I often just think about the things that you've given me that my mother didn't give me, but I know that I'm a lot more handicapped than a lot of the men that I've been around. They had different kind of mothers, not so good to really good mothers, but they all had this, I don't know how to explain it, but my opinion when it comes to things like this is difficult because you've given me my canvas of what I think a woman probably should have. So, but I can say this. While I was thinking about that part, I was thinking about all of the women that I've interacted in my years. All of you got this same message as far as you guys do want to be happy. Mm-hmm. You know, you want, I don't want to say want to be heard, but you want to be just as important. You're willing to take the back seat for them to find whatever they're looking for, but you're not going to look like an idiot doing it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like you guys have this. If I really sat down, I could really write down a list, and I don't think a woman would disagree. And then the man, that's why I say it's our fault. We kind of just, if we're not open-minded, we can't even accept the gifts that a woman has for us. Like, that makes us, that's why I say I can see the canvas that you've given me of the breakdown of the woman, mother, nurturing type thing, the energy. I think that a woman's going to have to, if she's not an effective communicator, it's tough, but she's going to have to be patient. She's got to know that she's leading this man to a degree, because this man is not complete by the time she's found him. Like we grow. Well, I grew into the man I was with, becoming with you, but I still believe even if I was this man, you would help me continue to grow because you give me eyes I can't see by myself, by our conversations. So a woman's going to have to be patient for the man to develop some type of maturity. And I don't know what the abuse that man has got, but they do have the choice on what abuse they want to deal with. Like whether it's physical, verbal, I guess just whatever the bad characteristics of the man where they hadn't grown enough to remove. It could beat up a woman. Mm-hmm. You got to know your tolerance of what you're going to get beat up by, because you don't want to go through this battle and it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, but you have to be patient still, but you have to be smart enough to know what battle you're going through. And if it's something that can hurt you, if it's something that could compromise, make you a different person, you don't need to be with that person. Like if you become a different person and you don't like that person, then that should be enough for a woman to know that this person doesn't deserve my patience.
That's true. Because sometimes you're going to have to grow up together, grow into these people together. But everybody got a threshold of what they can take in that growth. Like, this is too much. This is outside of my league to be able to help and be able to know when to walk away. But I have one person I was talking to recently, and they're like, I've already been here 9 years. I was like, like,
then where?
Like in their relationship, and they're like, it's not fulfilling. It's not hitting the mark in what this person should be doing or how they perceive this person should be performing in the relationship. And they're like, but I've been here 9 years. I was like, okay, you want to be able to say I've been here 19 years, I've been here 29 years, and you're still not going to be fulfilled. Like, it's interesting when you say that. You have to be honest with yourself about whether or not this is something that you will say, I'm willing to give my patience and work through this or not. That
is the ultimate key. And I think in her trajectory of if this is going to be a successful relationship, did she really put those things into account? Because a lot of times I don't think women know that they have time. They don't have to make a decision immediately. They're just like already to the end. And it's like, does this person even deserve your patience? And then, what's so crazy? You give the wrong person your patience, you may not give it to the person who deserved it.
Yeah.
And that's what I said, but most women don't know that. So maybe hopefully they know like the messaging is just all bad. I will say, I think a woman has to be more upfront about her boundaries. She has to stand on them. Like a man that respects her won't cross them on purpose the second time. Mm-hmm. The first time they didn't know, and they will be able to stop because you know when you're supposed to, when you cross a boundary, right? But a person that deserves your time, if you're firm on your boundary, you might get a poke just to make sure, because it's like a kid, like you just knock over a wall and then maybe the wall will knock over. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like we're taught to just keep trying. But I feel like sometimes women are probably exposed a little more, and then they're compromised early. Like they think this is just what I'm supposed to go through. Mm-hmm. You remember, I can't think of the comedian. She's really good, black lady. And she said that she was having sex with guys. She's gay, and she's like, she was having sex with guys thinking that maybe it was going to be fun at some point.
Oh, Sam Judy. Yeah.
She's like, I was just doing it thinking that, hey, everybody else doing it. Like, maybe it's going to kick in for me.
It's going to kick in.
Yeah, but so if it hurts you, you should be able to tell the man no. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how he responds, if you feel safe the way he responds, then it's probably a good go. But if there's anything that make you feel like, oh no, that's a no. Well, you're going to be teaching this man to act like the way you think he's supposed to be acting.
Well, and that goes with this one woman. She said her nephew was like, I asked a girl if she would be my girlfriend, and she said no. And then the aunt said, so you know what you need to do now, right? And he was like, yeah, just keep trying. She said, no, you need to stop. This ain't learning a math problem. Like, keep trying. It reminds me, like when we were talking to Darius, it was like, look, if it's not an enthusiastic yes, it's a no. So yeah,
look at that message that we're taught. Like, you can't be quick. You don't give up. Like,
hey, don't give up. This is like, dude, this ain't learning algebra. Don't give up. Believe her when she says no. And also believe her when she was like, like it's a no.
The check this out. If she says no and she's playing, You'll find out.
But see,
she's probably serious though. No girl is playing with you.
No, like stop. I'm like, no, I wouldn't mind if you would stop for real. Thanks. I appreciate it. But yeah, I think that then there's that messaging too. And then girls learn that, there's a lot of bad messaging, when a boy picks with you or then he likes you. What? Okay, no. But then that'll teach you. Yeah, it's a lot of weird stuff that I can say are sayings that I've heard time and time again that it's like, that's not right.
Like what?
Like, boys will be boys, or if he hits you, he likes you, or, those types of things.
But that is the truth though. Like the thing is what you're missing is that boys can't communicate well. So they're using their hands to represent, this is how much I like you. And I'm saying this because I'm watching it. If I say, hey, she's going to like you if you stop hitting her more.
True.
She doesn't like you hitting her. There's nothing about it that she says, oh, I hope he hits me harder next time. So watching these young men that don't know, I say, you don't know how to communicate. I see them making more of an effort. So when I say that, like these girls don't know how to say, hey, I may like you, but the way you're hitting me, they don't know how to speak like that.
Well, and so what we're talking about is girls in elementary, because what it translates into in high school, or what it can translate into. I had a boyfriend who used to hit me in high school. And after he would be crying and he'd be like, you just don't understand how much I love you. And then it was like, he was reduced to tears. And then I'd be like, he really loves me. He just can't.
So looking back at that.
And I was in my ass whooped. So it's like, and it wasn't like I was getting beat down, but I've definitely getting shaken. I've definitely been hit before though. And the messaging of, I've heard battered women say, he really loves me though. He only does it because he really loves me and I just can't. And that messaging, to me, the danger of giving that message to a young girl who's only able to process so much of the idea and then it translating into years to come and not getting someone to correct it and give more instruction. Because, when you tell a 3-year-old something, the instruction looks different or sounds different than when you tell a 13-year-old, because a 13-year-old has a different understanding and a 23-year-old. And if I only got this message when I was 6, that this is out when I'm 16, nobody has revisited and said, oh no, but he ain't supposed to be beating you down. No, he shouldn't be shaking you. He shouldn't be throwing you down on like none of that. Nobody revisits those messages later.
Well, it's because like, I guess a lot of this stuff, it just depends on the parenting.
It does. But that's why I'm saying to you, like, even if you say it's because they don't know how to communicate and, hey, it would be better if you didn't hit her because, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying that the message we're not updating their knowledge base in that area as they get older and can understand more complex situations. So,
yeah, so if women, that's why I said, like, they need to be able to be firm on their boundaries. That's not acceptable. Yeah. Like, no woman should be verbally or physically abused. Like, I don't want that to be the case. Yeah, for sure. Like, I agree with setting the boundary, but I just wanted to make sure I pulled that part out to say, even though you say, no, I think this really is true but we need to make the distinction of when you're 6, that might be true, but when you're 16 and you're hitting somebody, it doesn't mean that. Well, it should not hitting hurt. Is different. It's not like, and then running. I don't like that either, though. Your hands are heavy. I was like, dang, what did I do? The point is, update the message just like the software on your phone. Like, oh, yeah. For sure. You need to understand that what I taught you here, it doesn't translate when you turn 10, 11. It doesn't translate when you turn 21, but we don't revisit the message. So I guess hopefully this could be an outlet where young girls understand that that's unacceptable. It's not ever acceptable. Yeah. You have not ever done anything enough to deserve any of that. No.
No.
You know, like if you did something, it was by accident, you deserve to be forgiven. It was an accident. But the things that happen, yeah, you guys have to, I hate that anybody would have to go through that. You know, any type of relationship where any party feels like this is acceptable or don't even think it is acceptable and you still participate in it.
Yeah.
And that just sends a horrible message to anybody who knows that is happening.
Yeah.
As far as, let me see if it's another thing that I feel like I said patience, setting boundaries. And I feel like women have to know that men have blind spots. Like there are things that we think we know. You may like, my dad didn't do that. My dad did it this way. Like you have to know that we have blind spots. And if you introduce some new material, be careful on how you deliver it because we're so stubborn that we'll ruin something when you're trying to help. Mm-hmm. So you have to be more open-minded with knowing that we have blind spots and we have these bad behaviors that we can't accept good information when we hear it, you know, and I know that is a lot to consider, but I feel like if women did know that, it's like a pre-planning thing. If you're going to do it for bad habits, why don't you do it for getting him to be the best he can? Because he definitely wants to do the best. He just doesn't know how.
Well, you know, I guess in looking at all of the characteristics that we've been talking about, it takes me back to something my mom said. One, when we were talking before, and I said the man really makes the decision. He proposes. He makes the final decision on what relationship is going to move forward into marriage. The woman, she can accept or not, but he's setting the tone. Mm-hmm. But also when it comes to the woman making the decision, keep in mind, how do you really want your life to look in the end? And does he have the attributes that are going to allow you to get there? If you notice that he doesn't ever listen to you or take any of your advice or take anything into consideration, or you feel like he makes reckless decisions in this, that, or the other, whatever the case may be, all these things, it reminds me of my mom. My mom would say, whatever you're leery about or you don't like about him now will be 10 times worse when you are locked in that marriage and have started to build a life. So make sure that whatever it is that's bothering you, either he's working on it to change it or you're going to be able to accept it if it's 10 times worse, because it may, with that prolonged time, with the stubborn head, it may persist, and that may be something you're going to have to live with. And I remember I was like, I love him. whatever is it. I mean, and there were really things that I wasn't realistic, and I wasn't honest with myself about. I don't think I even looked far enough ahead to say this is what I want in a marriage, because I didn't grow up seeing partnership in raising our family. I saw my mom as the manager, the executive, the executor, you know, it's so I don't think I knew what I wanted to be able to say, can John take me there? Because if I would have been honest with myself where you were at that time, I would have been able to say, he ain't even interested in going in that direction. And then like you said, you were stubborn in the beginning and you thought your way was the only way. And so my thought that I would be able to be a counsel to you, that wouldn't have been the situation.
I wasn't mature enough.
Yeah. And I think that's, even though those things that I see now as this is how I would want a man in my life, she was like, whatever you don't like or whatever you don't see, it's going to be 10 times worse. I never had a real idea of what that was supposed to look like or what I was risking. And I know, like, you would say things like, you're really smart. And so I felt like you were a really good person to have a family with. But like, it didn't go any deeper than that, you know? And
oh yeah. Cause I didn't know, like, to me, I can tell you when I was saying it, I was just like, okay, I guess this is what life is. Almost like we're just in the rat race or the hamster wheel of this is what, yeah. Now it's way more intentional.
Yeah. I'm glad that we got here. We got here on the long route. It definitely wasn't no shortcuts being made to get here.
Yeah.
But I really hope that how we look at it, we're making it second nature for our kids to, like, they don't have to go seek out this idea. They go into the world way better than us because they already have that perspective of what it's supposed to look like. Like, we literally had to find this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We had to find it through trial and error. So hopefully we're putting some good people out into the world to find to be solid partners for somebody else, and hopefully find people who are willing to be good partners too.
Yeah, I believe the universe attracts what it's supposed to attract, and they'll get who they're supposed to get. And I think that we're creating a healthy presentation of a relationship.
Yeah.
I think that in my eyes, although they don't have that excitement that, we had when we were younger, their baseline of happiness, to me, I feel like is way happier than I was when I was growing up. So hopefully, they can appreciate that they didn't have, like parents that were at each other's throats regularly, seeing behaviors that could potentially say certain things are acceptable. And as parents, we didn't even know that we were passing these things on to them. Mm-hmm. So, we just keep finding ways to improve. I think, when they are lucky enough to find somebody to help them grow in different ways that we can't, that they'll appreciate the route we did by raising them. I feel this relationship we have, I'm proud because, like, I just feel like when you're happy, you enjoy life more. And I feel like the kids are happy and the product is better.
I hear you.
Less distractions. I gotta go home, man. I was trying to get out of the house for real. Yeah, that would probably, I would hope that women would carry those where, like, this will protect me. And by, like, if I did this, it's less likely for me to end up with the riffraff,
Yeah.
And same thing with the thing that's named for men. I feel like if men approached it the way that I'm thinking now, they're less likely to be bothered by their decision making later. Mm-hmm. But it requires an intentional type of, I have to do better. I can't just hope that it happens. Because all of these mistakes that people don't want to consider mistakes because this is God. God didn't tell you to do that.
Oh, I love that. God, yeah, sometimes we do stuff and then we say God did it because that's what we want. Yeah. And or we find the things in it like, well, my sign works well with a Gemini. So, or, we're both Libras, but, I love a Cancer. You be like, okay. And that's a whole other thing.
When I hear that, I think of people just hoping that it brings them closer to them. Because they have no idea. Yeah. But since somebody will put some words together and it sounded good with them, they're like, let's say this because maybe it will work.
This means it will work. But yeah.
it's going to take real work with whoever. Look, check this out. Whether you're an Aquarius, a Sagittarius, whether you're 2 months apart, I will say you should not be more than probably 3.5 years apart in age because it makes it really difficult with the things you discuss after a certain point because you're in a different place of growing up. But
that's a whole other
that's for sure. But
yeah,
you have to work no matter what.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's my whole point. Like, to get to a place where you can really be happy you made the decision with your partner, y'all haven't went through it yet. Like, and I'm not saying it has to be difficult. Like, you got to go through something bad. Yeah, it's just, you got to just have enough time with each other where you understand what her insecurities and you know how to protect them. Like, you understand, like, why she acts the way she acts because how she grew up and like, all of the things, like, all of our flaws came from somewhere else. And it's up to us to be able to say, hey, this is a flaw. I'm working on this. And when you get to that point, your mistakes look different.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming back and saying that, because a lot of times people talk about how Black women feel like they gotta hurt in order to get love. You don't have to have a horrible experience that you endure to have this relationship, and then that means that everything is going to work. Like, it just means that when we're talking about it's work and learning each other.
Yes.
Learning where each other has been hurt, where they need to heal, and being okay with that and working with them through it. It doesn't mean that you have to be struggle through the relationship to keep it together in order to be, it's gonna be better because I need you to just endure. That's not the message.
Yeah, that's not, please. Yeah. I'm glad you said that also. When I say work, I'm just referring to the actual interaction, just like the work that you developed a best friend when you were younger. Y'all saw each other all the time. Y'all hung out. Y'all called each other, or you sent messages. Like, you knew how they thought, except it's a different one because you actually live with this person. So it's way more moments that you guys can like surpass a best friend relationship. Yeah. But you have to be intentional with it. And if you're not, then there's no way you can get here.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do that part. You have to know why they feel that way and why you shouldn't do it again. And once you understand that, like, the relationship it shifts in a way where you feel like this person is always going to protect me from that feeling because they understand. Mm-hmm. But if y'all don't talk enough, y'all don't understand enough each other to protect each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is the work I'm referring to.
I like how you likened it to a best friend, because people, they can vibe with that. Oh yeah, I spent all the time like we did, but we don't think about that with our relationships. And we really should put in way more work in developing our friendship with our partner.
For sure.
Because we got to be with them 24/7. You ain't with your best friend 24/7.
No. And that's why I said, like,
yeah.
And that's why I said, like, if people really took advantage of the time they have with each other, like, they would learn so much more. I think they would enjoy moments more, instead of like waiting for occasions or waiting for a holiday. Like you could really enjoy each other every day.
Yeah.
But they have to believe that it's possible. Mm-hmm. And nobody really shows that it's possible.
That's true.
Because we out here faking it. We only do this once a week.
You're dumb.
Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
Give a shout out to my mom, the one who taught me what I shouldn't want and what I should want. And she's always, every time I talk to a friend, I'm always bringing up something. Well, my mom said, and I realized my mom is like a little guru. She got all kinds of little sayings that had I listened,
this wouldn't be here.
Well, had I listened, a lot of things that went on with me might have gone in different directions. But I definitely pull from her wisdom every day now. So shout out.
Shout out to anybody that's just working on themselves for real. Like, even if you like haven't really started, but it's on your mind, you're trying to figure out how to do it. You just start with one thing. You just do it every single day. Just, what you could do? You just brush your teeth better, but do it at nighttime so that when you go to sleep, all of the bacteria from all the food that you ate is gone. So your mouth is going to be a lot cleaner. Your teeth are going to be stronger. Protect your teeth at night. Do that for the rest of your life. I guarantee that your teeth will last longer by participating in this one thing. It will change your life. And the reason why I believe that, because we go to sleep without brushing our teeth most of the time, and we got all the stuff in our mouth still. So if we cleaned it out, I think that our teeth would last longer.
I bet y'all didn't think that was gonna be the ending lesson.
Well, the lesson is just, I want you to do something every single day so that you can see the fruit of it later.
Okay.
And like, since you should already be brushing your teeth at night, but if you're not doing it, do it, and I promise you'll start incorporating other things. And guess who's benefited from it? You are. That's it. You just start doing one thing at a time. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose.